And just so you can see right here, so here's the bottom of it, and this is the new seal. So this will go in here, and the edge fits in that little groove right there all the way around. See how jagged this hole is around the edge? They stamp these out sometimes, they're not great, but depending on where I put this, I can slide it back around, but I can still see some of that, or still see the old rivet holes. These cover up all that. 4 screws, and then you pull off the water inlet valve here. You're probably going to have a little bit of water go in there, so that's okay. Now before you screw this thing back to the side of the rig, you should do a pressure test. So I have this one, which is adjustable, and I've got it set to 50 psi right now. You don't want to treat your holding tank like you do a septic tank. So KleenTank, thank you guys very much for making awesome recommendations and doing a great job. Mistakes I've made, less than 397. But it overflowed. It filled up the toilet till it just overflowed to the side. If you've been looking forward to winning something big, this is the video for you. Stay tuned to the end to find out all the details on how to win and what to win. I got some new Airkrafter things. It's these gaskets that go between your Airkrafter vent and the ceiling. So it gives it a little bit better of a seal. So I'm going to pull all these off, and then I'll show you what I'm taking off the gasket, and I'm going to put all these back on. So get ready for some shoulder burn. All right, so what's got to happen is I'm going to take my little tool here and scrape off this felt gasket. It comes off pretty easy. Just a little, I say felt foam gasket. And then I'm going to put the others on and put them back in. Now, the reason I'm doing this is that I ran into Sean and the team of Aircrafters at the Airstream rally. But he knew I'd put these in, and he said, hey, I got some better gaskets than the ones you got on yours. So I got gaskets for all 8 of my Airkrafter parts. And just so you can see right here, so here's the bottom of it, and this is the new seal. So this will go in here, and the edge fits in that little groove right there all the way around. You can line up your holes and put them back on. So it looks good. It has a little bit better seal, and it gets it farther away from the roof. So your ductwork is really about that deep. So depending on which angle you have this, it can block the air coming. So with this little seal in there, it gives it a little bit more space to let air flow through. And I think it's a better option. And here's what it looks like installed. Now let's let the fun begin putting them back in, because it does take some time to get everything lined up properly. So a little bit of pain to get them back in, but I do like it once it's put in. Really excited to get this on. I love all the things Aircrafters has. Even got this cool little badge. Looks like the Airstream badge. I don't know exactly where I'm going to put this yet, but I'm going to put it somewhere. One more thing that these serve a purpose for is just see how jagged this hole is around the edge. They stamp these out sometimes, they're not great, but depending on where I put this, I can slide it back around, but I can still see some of that, or still see the old rivet holes. These cover up all that completely, so you don't see any of the excess weird cuts that Airstream makes in the roof. And your 2 rivet holes are not noticeable either. That's with these on. All right, got these things in. They work really well, and if you need a shoulder workout in your life, just understand that that is a awesome shoulder workout. But they look good, and then getting them situated in there and get them straight. So I put all the little Airkrafter logo. There's a little logo on here. I put all of mine towards the inside so they're even all the way down. But getting your ductwork, so there's the rectangle ductwork that's in there, and then getting it, because sometimes it's weird in there where they cut the holes, so smashing that down against the aluminum and getting the horseshoe in the back to squeeze all the things together like a sandwich, it's sometimes difficult, so just expect that. But it is a great workout. They look good, and I'm glad to have these in. So now I can't see my little rivet lines, and I can't see any of the extra holes that I was able to see before. So these work great, look great, and I'm excited to get my air conditioner turned back on to see how different the blowing cycle is, because it's moved down just enough to let more airflow across the top of that thing when it's in a turned position. But so far, so great. And Sean and Megan and the whole crew there, thank you very much for all you do at Aircrafters. Hey, from my understanding, every erPOD comes with those seals now, so it's a much better option than it was before. Still very happy with them. I think the seal makes it seal to the roof much better, and it gives a better airflow than what we had before. Again, because of that clearance, because of the ductwork is pretty shallow, and with that piece sticking up in there, somewhat restricted airflow. But airflow is great. There's no leaking. Works great. I think this was a fantastic upgrade. Hey everybody, I got something really cool to show you today. It's came in the mail from Airkrafters here, and it has nothing to do with the parts inside. It has something to do with the parts outside. You may have seen this device on KYD. I think Mark put one in his rig. I've actually had their prototype version for a couple months now, and I've been testing it out, but now they have the real production version, and it's a fresh water inlet. And I'm going to remove the one on the trailer now, the prototype version, and I'm going to put on the new pretty shiny one with all the new hardware. If you have the 25 or 27 foot trailer, those models are kind of notorious, particularly with the on-demand water heater, that this kitchen sink does not work. And meaning doesn't work when you put hot water on the kitchen sink. Everything else works fine, but unless you put the water pump on. Sometimes the water coming in the trailer is not strong enough. The reason is the water inlet valve on your trailer from the factory is a 50 psi setup. You can order the 65 psi system. You can get it from Woodland Airstream, but you can also get it on Amazon, and I'll have a link down here below to that 65 psi one. So if you commonly have an issue with water flow, meaning it doesn't trigger, there's not enough flow rate coming through to trigger your water heater, which requires a gallon per minute or at least 50 psi, give or take a some. But if you have water filtration systems, things like that, it slows that water down even more coming in the trailer. So you may want to bump up your inlet valve to a 65 psi one, or this one has no impedance whatsoever, so there's no filter or no regulator on it. So you have to have an external regulator for water coming in, because as many of you know, the water pressure in most parks is pretty high. So I'm going to crack this thing open, show you the components, and then we're going to go put it in real quick. All right, so packaging wise, here's the new seal that goes on the outside of your trailer, and here's the shiny new water inlet. Oh man, it looks so good. So you need the quick disconnect type hose fitting, so these are easy. Oh, it comes with a little toy. And included in this purchase, a pressure regulator that you can put on your hose. So it's a pressure regulator built in with this, so you can just hook your hose to that. So that's really great, and that will hook right here to this. So that's really fantastic that they included this, and I'll show you the one that I already have from previous use. But it's so pretty and shiny, it looks good, and it's not just a straight pipe through there. Just so you can see, it's not just a straight fitting. There is some proprietary software in there, if you will. But let's go get this thing installed so you can see what it does. All right, you can see this one looks pretty similar to the old one. This one's just not shiny chrome. This one's kind of subdued. So I'm going to pull this one off. And again, the pulling it off and putting on the new one is all the same, as regardless of which one you have. So if yours is still the factory one and you want to change it out with the 50 psi, change out from the 50 psi to the 65 psi model, it's these 4 screws are pretty easy. So those are my 4 screws, and then you pull off the water inlet valve here. You're probably going to have a little bit of water go in there, so that's okay. Just make sure you turn your water pump off and all those things before you get started. So I'm going to check the water seal there. It looks good, but this is the prototype. And you see it has this seal on there, but I'm going to put the other seal on. Make sure my holes are lined up here. And you may want to get a rag and clean this off, which I'm about to do. And if you're wondering, the cap for here, I took it off earlier so I can clean behind it too. The 2 screws out of the black tank drain. Now before you screw this thing back to the side of the rig, you should do a pressure test to make sure that it's not leaking. So I'm going to hook up the water here. And do a quick pressure check. No issues at all. So you'll notice these self-tapping screws here. I just push it into that little top point right there, lining up the hole, and then it starts to screw in. So just make sure you're not doing this with a power drill or something, because if you screw too tight, you'll strip out these holes and you can't fix that. So I want to get them all four started, and then I'll tighten them down like a lug nut pattern. And I want to put this other one back on the black tank flush here. Now, one thing, this is, I don't ever leave this dangling because if the wind starts blowing, it'll blow over here and scratch it. But what I do with it is, when the black tank flush cap is on, it will nest nicely in that little lanyard so it doesn't blow around. But you can also pull this thing right off. Just pull it off the rubber end and keep it somewhere else if you need to. But it just sits right there pretty nicely. Looks good. Now, if you were to be using this pressure regulator they send with it, this 90 degree, this is a 50 to 55 psi pressure regulator, and it would sit here just like this. So if you had the Camco filters, you could just hook it to here and then hook your hose to the bottom of that, which I like because it hangs straight down instead of sticking out, pulling pressure on this thing. So I don't want a lot of weight pressure, and I've seen people with their filters sticking out here like this with a lot of weight. So if you're ever going to hang a filter here, I do it here, but I typically put it on the other end. So I'm going to show you the pressure regulator that I'm using now. So I have this one, which is adjustable, and I've got it set to 50 psi right now. And I'll have the Y splitter here, which I've talked about many times, because I can hook up my black tank flush hose with it and use it separately, or wash the trailer with it. I like having multiple hose attachments in case I need to do something else with them. But anyway, I like this because it has a gauge, and I can turn this up or down depending on if I need more or less pressure. And then it runs through my Blue Tech water filter and water softener. So that's my setup. I'm very grateful to Sean for sending out this product. I'm a really big fan of all the things they do over at Airkrafters. This prototype was neat. I thought it was great, and he has a number of other items coming out as well that are on the website now, like the battery box cover and the open up your doors and put covers on those. He has all kinds of really cool things, plus the vents. And I put the vents in a long time ago, and then I saw him at the rally, and I got some new gaskets for the vents and put those in. So I really enjoyed those vents, and everything Airkrafters makes is a quality product. So Sean, thank you for sending us out and letting me check it out and give you feedback. And for the new model, I'm really excited to get this in the hands of the world because this is very Airstream. Looks good, high quality product, and easy to change out and easy to install. So if you want the full throttle water coming in, it's great. And I really appreciate that he included this pressure regulator on here. So I prefer the one that I have on there with a gauge, and you can adjust it should you need to. But this one works just as well. So I love the quick disconnect piece, and I think it looks great. So if that's something you think you need for your trailer, please check out Airkrafters and get your own. I wish I had a discount code for you, but I don't have any of that kind of stuff set up. But anyway, great products and well worth the cost on all fronts. If you want quality things that are going to last a long time, I think it's a great place to start. So if you have any questions, as always, please reach out to me and let me know. And have a great day, everybody. Bye. Let's talk about something awesome, the black tank, everybody's favorite thing to dump. I have here today some Calgon bath beads and some pine sol, and you might be wondering, what do those things have to do with your black tank? If you have ever heard of KleenTank, they've been at many rallies, KLEEN tank, KleenTank.com. They have a website. They do a wonderful job of cleaning out people's tanks that have had years of buildup and had years of issues. But they also recommend that you don't use any type of tank treatments, traditional tank treatment. And the premise is you don't want to treat your holding tank like you do a septic tank. And all the treatments that you put into the tanks are meant to break down the paper and the waste and all the things and make it a sludge basically to get out of your tank. The folks at KleenTank's stance are you just want it to get out as quickly as possible. So sanitize and make it slick so nothing sticks to it. and that's where these things come in. I have been using this setup in my black and gray tank now for almost a year. I have been meaning to make this video or part of another video many times, and somehow I never remember to do that, but I'm making it now. So I have used the Calgon Bath Bead Pine Sol Solution in my black and gray tank now for almost a year. I think next month will be 1 year. I saw a video on YouTube of them cleaning out someone's fifth wheel black tank, and then months and months later they followed up with it again after they cleaned the tank out, got it completely clean, and then they started using this setup, and then they went back and tried to clean it again, and nothing came out except for what you would expect to be in there. And the tank was clean and sludge free and had no buildup. In a fifth wheel we had one time, the black tank actually came disconnected from the fifth wheel, the bottom of it, the little straps that hold it on, the cheap straps that fifth wheel companies use, and it fell off. And when I was able to inspect it and have a technician inspect all the things, they realized that there was still like what he called toilet paper concrete in the bottom of my black tank. And it was very gross. And I had black tank flushed that tank out every single time that I used it, but it was still a buildup of the rapid dissolve toilet paper in the bottom of the tank. Many of you know already, and I'll say it again here, but we do not put toilet paper down our toilet in the Airstream, and have never put toilet paper down the toilet in our Airstream. Two reasons. One, we're able to buy whatever fancy toilet paper we use. Two, I put a bidet in, and we use baby wipes too, so not much need for toilet paper anyway. That's what I do, and that's what I've used, and it doesn't smell. Everybody asks, well, doesn't it stink in your trash can? No, it doesn't stink. And we're able to take our little trash can out every few days as we needed. So anyway, the way this works, and you can go to KleenTank's website, and I'll put it up here on the screen, and you can see their recipe on there and all the things that they do. And if you need your tank clean for some reason, they are at many of your rallies and many of your RV shows and things like that. So please check them out. I'm a big fan. But I take a 1 gallon jug here, and I put 40 ounces of this in there and 8 ounces of this in there, and then fill the rest with water, and that's my solution. So every time I drain my black tank, and prior to using this and using all sorts of different tank treatments, and I've reviewed a number of them, and I really like many of them, and I think they do a great job of keeping the tank smelling fresh and sanitized and things like that. But this has been my favorite so far, and here's the main reason. When I go out to dump my tank, I pull the black handle and all the waste comes out. I typically close the black handle and fill up the tank to 85, 90%, something like that, and then I drain it again. Before using this setup, I would have to do that 3 or 4 times to get fully clean water coming out. Now, I fill it up I drain it and I fill it up and I drain it again, and by the time it's draining that second time, it's clear. No extra washing, no extra rinsing, and everything works great. And it smells fine, works fine, and it's a cheap alternative to most of your standard tank treatment. So you can get this on Amazon. You can get this at most anywhere, Walmart, grocery stores, things like that. You mix all that into a gallon jug here, and then every single time I dump my tanks, I put about a gallon of water in there and then 5 to 7 ounces of this in down the toilet. And I do the same thing down the sink. Or the shower, one of the two. Sometimes a little bit of both, just to help sanitize and coat those drain valves in the sink and the shower. If you are in most trailers, just so you're aware, most of your trailers, you need to check the plumbing diagram, but most of them, the sink in the bathroom does not go to the gray tank. It goes to the black tank. So just know that and check that. And that's many trailers have that issue. Not all, but many do. So KleenTank, thank you guys very much for making awesome recommendations and doing a great job cleaning the tanks out. So very, very happy to talk about this. Mistakes I've made, lesson 397. This morning, I was in here cleaning the bathroom, cleaned the toilet, and I turned on the bidet. So we have a bidet installed. There's a whole video on me installing the bidet if that's something that's interesting to you. However, I turned it off, but I left it I thought I turned it off, but I left it barely open. An hour and a half goes by. I walked outside to do something, and I saw water coming out from what is the propane lines coming out from underneath the rig, but it's near the water heater. And I looked in the water heater, couldn't find anything wrong. I never heard the water pump running. So two things. I have installed the intelligent water pump control module. There's a whole video on that. So the water pump is very quiet, and the bidet. So there's two additional things I did. But more to the point, I rarely leave the trailer by itself with the outside water pressure turned on or the water pump turned on, in the event some random things like that happen. Like the sink is barely left on, shower's barely left on, outside shower's barely left on, the toilet bidet is barely left on, your toilet dump valve inside. So when you push the foot pedal, if that spring is ever worn or anything's worn right there, you always run the risk of water continuing to pump or run when you don't expect it. So that's why we rarely leave the rig by itself. So we leave the rig, if we're hooked up to city water, we go outside and turn the city water off. If we leave the rig water pump on, we just turn the water pump off before we leave. I didn't even hear the water pump, and I don't have anything loud going on in here this morning. But it overflowed. It filled up the toilet till it just overflowed to the side. And then right down there where the water line goes underneath the cabinet, that little mouse hole down there, the water ran through there, goes down to the side of the rig and goes down outside. And I'll show you where it drips out. So I saw water streaming out from under here, right there. So these are propane lines coming out. One's going to your stove, and one's going to your water heater here, and they come from up front. But water was dripping out of this hole, and the whole ground was wet. So nothing in my water heater is wet. So I originally thought it was the overpressurization valve here, but there's nothing in there wet. So just a little bit of water trickle fills up that toilet, and it overflowed to the sides. Things happen. And as long as I've been doing this, things still happen. Please think about your water before you take off and leave your rig by itself for a long time. I've had similar things happen with my black tank flush. So hooked up the black tank flush, and outside turned the spigot off, but the spigot didn't turn all the way off. It just left a little bit of trickle, and it started filling up the black tank. Had it overflow. There's things like that have happened many, many, many times. So water is always a worry inside a trailer, and that was easy. A little bit of water poured over the side. I was able to flush it and get it moved out and get it dried up. There's still wet under the cabinet, which I can't reach, but I'll have the fan in there blowing, so it'll get some airflow through there and get that drained out and get that blown out. The good thing is the 2021 and newer models have the composite flooring, so it's not something I'm worried about rotting out. But water is always a deal, so just check your stuff. All right, this week I got a big giveaway. I did a review of this device a couple weeks back. You can check it out. The link will be here on the screen if you're on YouTube, and it's down below in every other format. But I'm giving away a drone. This Ruco drone was sent to me by the company to do the review for. I really enjoyed the drone. I have a drone already that I like. This one is a great drone for someone who's looking to get into droning without a lot of money being spent. Well, specific to this one because it's free. But all you have to do to enter to win this contest is go to our website, 13adventures.com, click on the contact us link over on the side, and type in drone, Ruco drone giveaway, anything like that, and I'll know you have entered to win this contest. The contest is open for 72 hours, so this video is going to come out on 8 a.m. on the morning, and 72 hours later, after this video posts live, I will draw for the winner for this drone, and I will get it sent out to you as soon as I can. If you have any questions about anything in this video or anything else, please let me know. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.